Hi everybody. Today let's try and learn an application where I firstly call this a database table trainer. Okay. So let's go through the source codes. I have installed the required applications. Uh, so here I am just putting my API key and I have defined my database here and the database name is Chinook. So I'm importing all these libraries here, and the way to connect using this LangChain community tool, the way to connect to MySQL database is giving this credentials like this, and let's see what we have done here. So I have defined an LLM where I'm using the model as 3.5 turbo, GPT 3.5 turbo, and then there's this generate query and create SQL query chain LLM, comma DB. Okay, so here is the first function that I've written. What this function essentially does is it takes the create table format of the table, okay, that is going in as an input, and then I have given here the text saying that from the above table, can you describe the table in very short words in layman terms? What can the table be about without using the data types? Okay, so this is the prompt that I've given, and then I'm looking for a response. Okay, so this is the first function that we have defined here. Okay, essentially it takes the create table statement, and then reading that create table statement, it is basically giving an output in layman terms of what is the table all about. Okay, the second function that we have written here is basically to get the create table statement. Okay, so for which the query is show create table name. Okay, so here let's fire this here. Okay, let's fire this here. MySQL minus u root minus p. Okay, use Chinook. Okay, and albums is one of the tables, so let's use this show create table album. Show create table albums. I think it's just album. Yeah, so you can see that here it's basically given me create table album id is not null and blah blah blah. Okay, so essentially what I've done here is I have fired a query. uh, the way to invoke is execute query dot invoke here. Okay, and then you can basically in this you will get both album and create table this particular statement, okay, in a form of an array. So what I've done is I've returned this create table album in this function. Okay, and in the same way the third function that we have written here is to get one table at a time and then iterate this to call this function here. You can see this here. So what I've done is I'm iterating this for each and every table. I'm firstly getting the create table statement, and then I'm passing it to create get table description here, and then I am appending it in these variables for me to further save it in a CSV file. So I'm using pandas here. Okay, I will share this code with you all. Okay, so for now let's try and run this database. Okay, so I am saving this here as a file. Let me change this file name as table underscore training underscore data. Okay, let's save this. Okay, and let's run this. Okay, so what I've done here is, let me run this dbtrainer.py and let's see the output. Now it started, so it's already got this information for these two tables, these four tables. Now let's wait for it to finish, and we've called this. You can see here there is no such file so far which is called as the table training input. Okay, let this finish and let's see. There are very few tables in this database. Okay, you can see that this has got created table training data. Okay, let me open this for you all and you will see. So essentially what this function has done is, the first table, album, it's saying this table is called album. It seems to be tracking music albums. Each album has unique ID, a title, and is associated by an artist by their ID. The artist ID is linked to another table called artist. So you can see that it has fairly figured out what the respective tables are all about. Okay. uh, the customer table seems to be the record information about customers. It includes unique identification for each customer and blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is our DB trainer module, and how we apply this is, we when we have a query from the user, we basically run semantic search on this input, and basis that then we figure out which are the most relevant tables. See, in your applications there might be hundreds of tables. Okay, and when user gives an input, you might require only 4 or 5 tables from the 100 tables. Okay, so what we are trying to essentially do here is, when we want to generate a query, we will only send information basis this training record. You can obviously change the records here. You can change, if let's say you want to add or you want to modify the respective training. This is just a sample by default trainer, AI based trainer that we've got this output from. Okay, so I hope you've liked this whole concept, and we'll see further on how we are going to use this to actually make a report maker out of this whole AI thing. Okay, thank you guys, thank you very much.